What's up, everybody? Welcome to my American Horror Story 1984 after show. We're talking about episode 2 today. Let's get right into it, shall we? So, the woman that I thought would have a pivotal role in this season actually dies within the first 2 minutes of this episode. I'm talking about Karen. She was the woman that worked at the asylum that seemed to know a thing or two about Mr. Jingles. She goes to Camp Redwood to try to warn Margaret not to open up the camp because he has an obsession with her. And Margaret was like, nah, I'm good. I will kill him if he comes after me. And she leaves and goes right into a trap set by Mr. Jingles and dies. And of course, he cuts off her ear as his signature move. Obviously, my predictions are going so well this season, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up drinking tequila by the end of it. So this episode takes place right where the last episode left off. We're still on the same night, and Brooke is pretty shaken because she had just seen the Night Stalker right by the payphone, and of course, nobody believes her. And on top of that, there's a news bulletin of the murder that happened at the gas station that they were at right before they got to Camp Redwood, and of course, no one but Brooke sees it. Classic 80s horror movie cliches all over the damn place. I know, it's so frustrating, but it's like, it's supposed to be. 80s horror movies don't work unless people are stupid and oblivious. Duh, that's how it works. Anyway, Margaret shows up and splits the boys and the girls apart, and Montana and Brooke are alone, and they have a little heart-to-heart, and we learn more about Brooke's backstory, of course, because it's American Horror Story. We get a lot of backstory with all these characters. It turns out that Brooke has had some trauma in her life, and I'm not just talking about the Night Stalker coming after her. She was actually going to be married, but the soon-to-be husband found out that one of the groomsmen came to her house the night before and assumed that she cheated on him, but of course she didn't because she's, the good character. But he assumed so and killed that groomsman and then killed, I think, the father and then killed himself. She was traumatized. And Montana thought that they were having a moment and tried to make a move on Brooke, and Brooke got out of there and needed some fresh air. Margaret turns all the camp lights out and things start to get a little bit spooky. Xavier is wandering around the campgrounds and he gets attacked from behind, and it turns out that it's not Mr. Jingles or the Night Stalker, it's his agent that was coming after him. I actually thought that the voicemail that Xavier was checking last episode was the Night Stalker, but it was his agent, and he came back to him to make him work some more, and it turns out that this guy is slimy, like some agents are. He was getting Xavier to do gay porn, which sucks because apparently Xavier isn't gay. Okay. Anyway, this agent had promised Xavier, fame and fortune and glory, but really he just wanted to use him in more and more gay porn, which Xavier isn't thrilled about, obviously. And to distract the agent, Xavier brings him to the showers at the camp to let him watch his dude bros take a shower and then runs off and sneaks away from him. That leaves this peepin' Tom vulnerable to a killer, and he gets stabbed right through his head into his eye and dies. After the commercial break, we get to the point of American Horror Story that we all know and love, the parts that make us go, what the actual fuck is going on? Brooke is chilling alone on the docks, and the Night Stalker comes from behind her and tries to attack her, and she runs away in another, horror movie cliche fashion, and she almost gets caught by him, but then bam! Out comes the hitchhiker out of nowhere. Apparently he's alive again. So the hitchhiker dude says something to the effect of, I'm not supposed to die here, and then the Night Stalker was like, I beg to differ, and kills him, and then not even like 2 minutes later, the hitchhiker comes back alive again, and then the Night Stalker kills him again, which leaves the Night Stalker confused, and me just as confused. Is this guy a ghost? Like, what's going on? He pulls out an ID and sees that he was a camp counselor, so obviously he's not of this world. He might be from the world of the 1970s, perhaps. Anyway, the dude bros find the guy that was peeping them in the shower dead, and the girls eventually catch up as well and see him too, and they are ready to piece the fuck out. Meanwhile, Nurse Rita comes face to face with Mr. Jingles, and Margaret comes face to face with the Night Stalker, and the Night Stalker is a worshipper of Satan, so you'd think that they would clash a little bit, him and Margaret, but it turns out that they get along quite swimmingly, and she thinks that he was sent here to help protect the kids of the camp from Mr. Jingles. The two of them have a very deep conversation to the song Rise by Herb Alpert about being able to get away with anything as long as you use God and trauma as an excuse. They also talk about the hitchhiker and how he's probably a ghost, and she agrees to try to figure out what's going on with that situation in exchange for him to help protect the kids from Mr. Jingles. Anyway, back to the kids. They are running to Xavier's van, and they get into it and start the van, and then they almost run into Nurse Rita, which gets them to crash into Margaret's car. And Rita is fine, and everyone else is fine, but they need to find keys to a different car to get out of there. So they split, much like the Scooby-Doo gang, into 2 different groups and go find some keys to some of the other cars that are at the camp. While they're searching for the keys, Margaret is searching for the hitchhiker / camp counselor and finds him right where the night stalker had actually killed him. And she recognizes him as a camp counselor from the 70s who hasn't changed a bit. So yes, I guess he's a ghost. But he does recognize her as being older, so he knows kind of what's going on. He realizes that he must be dead. I don't know about you guys, but I got the feeling that Margaret is hiding something major because she was trying to fish out some answers from him in a very suspicious way, asking if he had seen certain things or what the last thing he remembers is. I think that she did something quite horrible, and I want to figure out what it is. Maybe, this is my theory, and I'm probably wrong because my theories are always wrong, but maybe she's kind of involved with the killings, and maybe that's why Mr. Jingles is obsessed with her, not because he wants revenge on her for, you know, surviving, but perhaps she was doing some killing of her own. I don't know. This is just, you know, me throwing out ideas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. In any case, the 2 groups of kids get trapped in their respective places where they're looking in the keys by a killer. It almost seems like Mr. Jingles is at both places, and I don't know how exactly that would be, but that's what it comes across as, and that's where the episode leaves us hanging. Another cliffhanger. Anyway, to sum up my thoughts on this episode, I'm a little bit reluctant to carry on the series. I will do it, and I will recap the episodes and review every single episode until the end. I'm just not as hyped about it because we're kind of dabbling with a bunch of different kind of genres of the classic 80s horror film. I mean, we got the serial killer aspect and we've got the supernatural aspect, and I kind of just wanted this season to be consistently one simplistic storyline. But this is American Horror Story. I know it's not what they do, but I just wanted it to just surprise me for once. But now I'm gonna have to use my brain box and try to figure out everything with this season. I mean, but that's just my take on it. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you enjoying the season so far? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next week.